Okay, let's start the class. So before I start class, I want to show you something. On Piazza, I already posted two. Hold on, let me check my. Okay, I already posted two links there, so the user can just check the link and it will jump to a document. Can anyone hear me? So it seems like my microphone doesn't work. So. Okay, I will do it later. Okay, so it seems like everyone can hear my voice. Okay, so there are two links here. So just go to the link, and it can help you learn something about MongoDB. Because we only have two discussion sessions talking about the MongoDB. It's not enough. So you should go to learn it by yourself, because there are a lot of samples, lot of documents there. Just check it, you can get it. And there's another information. So where is my other postman? Oh yeah, here. So right now, most students have created just XSED account. That's great. So right now we have a allocation for the class, but we don't want to enroll students into the allocation right now, because we have a limited resource there. So we will decide to post a Google document on the Unit 5 and a week before the project, and enroll your username into the allocation. Then you can go to do some test, go to do some work on that. So don't worry about that. Just follow our notifications on Piazza and you won't miss anything. And please don't email to professor or to the help desk. They cannot solve your questions because all preparation is done, and we just need your username. And also don't email us your username to the email list, because right now we don't have any place to hold your username. Thank you for your work. So let's go to our slides. So I already saved these slides into the IU box, so you can just check it and get some more clear information. Okay, so here, introduction to MongoDB. That's our Unit 2 work. So oh yeah, there's one thing. Well, there are several things here. So students who haven't changed the email ID in OpenEDX and Piazza, so just please change your email ID to the valid one, because so if you still use the old, the temporary email ID like for something, and you cannot get a notification from Piazza, because this email cannot forward to your IU email. So just change your email ID, reset your password, not reset password, but just and anyway, just change your email ID to make sure you can get any notifications there. And the assignment 2.1 will due tonight, midnight. So just submit the assignment on time. And the assignment 2.2 will due on Wednesday midnight. So make sure you don't miss that assignment. There are two assignments for the assignment 2. And when you submit your assignment, you are required to do peer review. So don't worry about that. So we will make the group for you, and you just need to do the peer review. That's all. And so if someone want ask on Piazza that could we make the to-do list? So the to-do list is posted on the course info. So every Tuesday we will update an event on the course info. So it will tell you what you should do, what you have to read, and we will update the course info every day. So if we have something, we have to update it. So please, so every time when you log into the course info, please check the course info event, because maybe you will miss something. Also, if you want to get more clear information about deadline, about the homework, about office hour, so you can still go to the courseware Unit 0 and the calendar. So we are planning to add the calendar into the top tab on the open index. So maybe that's the easiest way you can check the calendar there. So that's what I want to talk before the class. So let's go to the MongoDB. So first of all, we should know what is MongoDB. This is a very simple introduction about the MongoDB. That MongoDB is a cross-platform document-oriented database, and MongoDB works on concepts of collection and document. So if you know MySQL, if you learn MySQL before, so you will know that in MySQL, you just create a database. Then you are going to create a table in it. That's what you have to do. And the table can save all this information or can save your records there. But for the MongoDB, it's quite different. It has 3 levels there, 3 layers there. Like the highest layer is the database. So it works as MySQL, that it's just the biggest one that is a container of collections. So for MySQL, it's a container of tables, but for the MySQL, it's a container of tables. But for the MongoDB, it's a container of collections. So the collection is a group of MongoDB documents, and the basic level is document. Document is a set of key value pairs. So for this MongoDB, you can think this MongoDB is a file system, like database is your system, right? And the collection is your folder, like you can create any folders in your system, file system. Then for the documents, it's any kind of files. You can put any files into a folder. So it means you can put any documents into a collections. So that's in level by level, 3 levels in the MongoDB. So let's compare with the MongoDB and MySQL. So as we know, MySQL is a relational database management system, RDBMS. So in MySQL, you predefine the database schema based on your requirements and set up the relation between fields in the database. So also, one reason we are going to use database is because we are going to make the relationship between different documents, between different records. That's the basic purpose of the database. So even though we say that's the MySQL concept, still we apply the relationship. So MongoDB still predefines the database schema, and it still try to set up the relationship between the documents. So they are same thing, but what's the difference between these two applications? That they use different schema, they use different knowledge, they use different logic for that. So let's go to the concepts between these two stuffs. So MySQL just use a table. A table is similar as a collection for the MongoDB. And the row is a document. Then the row is used to store the record. Column is a field. So the next slides will show you the sample of MySQL. You will know what is column. And here, so the join. So when you learn the MySQL, you will know we have to use join function to join 2 different documents in different tables. So, but in MongoDB, we use embedding the document or the linking. So we will discuss all these 2 aspects in next slides. So first, let's see the MySQL table. So here we can see this is a very simple table here. Like we have 3 columns, three fields, the user ID, username, and the row here. We have right now we just only have 2 records. So we can add thousands of records here. And let's go to the table description. So the field, we have 3 fields: user ID, username, row. Type, so the int 11, varchar 50, varchar 50, and none, it's not none, and yes, and the key, that's a primary key. Default is non-value. Okay, so right now, if you use MySQL, you will find when you design this schema, it's fixed. Even though you can add more columns, you can add more fields there, add more columns here, so you can manage. You can manage this table. So it's easy to add a column if you have very simple data. Like right now, we only have these 3 columns. Then if the class wants to add thousands of columns here, it will take you a long time to develop, to fix the schema here. Like you have to insert thousands of commands there to make sure your table can handle the new document. So it's not a good idea to use MySQL. But right now, so if you just have a simple document, so just use MySQL because that's stable. We use this MySQL for many years. So I think the performance can handle any requirements, but maybe on some aspect, some case, it's not very high performance. So why we use MongoDB instead of MySQL? So there are 5 reasons, the main 5 reasons. So first, MongoDB can hold different documents in a collection, as I said. So the collection works as a folder. So the document works as files. You can put different files in a document, in a folder. Like you can put a PDF, you can put a video, you can put anything, you can put a picture in it. So MongoDB could do that, just to hold different documents in a collection. So what is a document? We are going to talk in our next slides. So, and you can design your own schema for special requirements. What is what's the own data schema? So this is our next topic. I'm going to talk about the data structure, data schema about the MongoDB. Non-complex joins. So it's still an aspect of the schema. Like, so in MySQL, you go into create different tables and make a relationship between these 2 tables. And you have to use join method to join the relative content. So if you use MySQL before, you will find that sometimes the join function is very complicated and it's hard to define because you want to define an efficient one, but sometimes it can cost a lot of time. So it's not a good idea. But in MongoDB, it has some structure to solve these questions. Still, there has a lot of relationship between the document, but if you design a good schema, so there's no complex join, strong query ability. So for the MySQL, you will know we just use the command select something from some table where the condition. So that's the query schema. But for MongoDB, we use a document-based query language. What is a document-based language? Query language? Like we query something, we query the entire document from the database. Then we can use the key value pairs to get what we request, like the key value pairs get the value. So this is key value pairs information about the MongoDB. We will discuss in the next slides. So here, so MongoDB use internal memory for storing a work set. So when you load a collection or when you load several documents into memory, so you can quickly access, manage your credit data. It saves you a lot of time. Like, so I'm not sure MySQL has this performance, but it seems like MongoDB support this internal memory processing. Like you can load the data into the memory, and you don't need to waste time for MongoDB loading the document again. So it saves you a lot of time. So here, let's go to the simple document in MongoDB. So here, you could see that I just mentioned that key value pairs. So when first time you see this document, you will find that it's very clear that it has a key here, it has a value, it has a key value. So that's a key value pairs. So sorry, there's a mistake there. So there should be a command to split different key value pairs. Like if you don't use this command, so how can you figure out the different key value pairs, right? So like you use the command to split the sentence, same thing. So we use a command to split different key value pairs, like here. So if you have the key title, you can find the MongoDB sample. If you know the key description, you can find that this is a sample document. So it's very human readable. Also, you can find if you want to know the number, So this document can show you the number, that's 1,000. If you want to know people, so the document can show you a list of people information here. So you send the first name message, you send the second message. So this document follows the rule that key value pairs. This is one important rule in MongoDB. So when someone say this document is very, very strange, right? So it seems like, this is key value pair. So I already talked that. So when you see that, you will see there are very special items here. Sometimes you will find this special ID. What is the ID? It's quite different because someone will say we can define the ID, right? But sometimes you will find why there's an ID there. So it's very strange. So there's an ID, so I never define the ID there. So that's another important aspect of MongoDB. ID is a 12 bytes hexadecimal number, so it can show you the unique value for that document. MySQL has the same constraint that they use a primary key. So the primary key and ID contains unique values. So why we use ID? So we use ID to keep the record unique. Like sometimes we like to insert a similar record into the MongoDB or to the database, to any database. Like this username with his address, username with his phone number, username with his course information. So if we insert these three records, username information, username address, username course information, username, whatever. So they have the similar data on the data set. So how can you figure out what is it? So if you want to get the address, how can you figure out that address? How to acquire the address from the data set? So at that time, we are going to use the ID. So the ID can help you to find the exact record, exact record you want. So for MySQL, the most table should have a primary key. So when you define a table in MySQL, you can define, should we keep a primary field there, primary key field there? So if you define no, so it means you can insert duplicate value there, like username with address, username with course number, username with his SQL ID. So in your table, you can find like you with his address, you with his course number, you with his SQL ID. So you can see a duplicate information there, duplicate username there. So when you try to use the MongoDB, if you don't put the ID there, the MongoDB will automatically generate the ID for the document. I think it's a very good good development for our user. Like sometimes you never think about the ID because it seems like we just insert some document into the database, and we never think about it. We have to use it before because we just insert the document data set. That's all. That's what we want to do. But suddenly the professor wants you to add another relative information. So you will find there you have duplicated records in same collection. So it's very hard for you to figure out how to make a relationship. Like you have duplicate, username on your collection, then how to make a relationship to a special document in other collection. So it will cost you a lot of time. So the MongoDB already generate ID for the document. So you don't need to worry about that, how to handle the duplicate information, because there's already a unique ID there. You just create a relationship between these different IDs, so then you can solve your problem. So I think that's a good part for the MongoDB. So also, if you know the MySQL has limited types there, so like int, timestamp, something. So, but for the MongoDB, you have lots of the data set there, data types. So you can say you can save string, you can save integer, you can save boolean, you can save double, min, max key, arrays. So arrays is one of the important types in the MongoDB. So we will discuss it later. Timestamp, regular expression, object, non, symbol, date, the data, the object ID, and the binary data, the code. So object is one of the important, type as the arrays in the MongoDB. So this is these two types that we are going to talk next. And there's one special code. So in MongoDB, you can insert JavaScript code into the database. It's amazing, So if you want to insert JavaScript code into MySQL, I think you just need to insert a string of information, like a string of code. So when you insert it, when you get it out from dataset from MySQL, you will find that's just a string. That's not a code. So MongoDB has this ability to store the code in it. Also, I do some project before, and so the MongoDB still can save the picture. Some other, so many kind of types there. So just check the link I posted on the Piazza. There are many samples, and there are many links hints can help you learn the MySQL. So here, let's go back to this sample document. So first, when you see this document, you can say, okay, I can understand why we use this column, why we use this comma. But you have a question, why would you use this, braces? So that's strange. So, and also there's brackets there. So why we use these two very strange symbols there. So when you think about this one, so you catch the point of the schema of MongoDB. So why we use it? So first, we have to introduce the JavaScript object notation, the JSON. We call it JSON. So in your project, you are going to use JSON. So JSON is open, human, and machine-readable standard. So when you check this table, you find, okay, that's very clear that we can get the ID, that this is information, find this field, by finding the key description, you can get the value listed as sample document. You can get tag, you have the tag key, you can get 3 kinds of text. So it's very clear and human readable. Also for machine, just make the key value pairs like the hash table, make key value pairs so it can understand. So when you go to this part, you will see the JSON. So JSON has 2 data structures. So we can see the first one is the collection of the key value pairs. What is the key value pairs? You will know that's the key, and that's value, and we use the column to make this key value pairs. That's a pair, so it's very clear. A collection of key value pairs means very easy to understand. The collections. So like, first this is the key value pair, and how to make a collection of key value pairs. Same thing. So this is the object. First of all, you should know, every time you want to use key value pairs, you have to follow the rule to put these symbols, 2 symbols here, because that's an object to store the key value pairs. So it's quite different from the arrays there, list array. So here, going back to the collection of key value pairs. So we have 1 key value pairs here. So if you want to add more, you just add a command to split these key value pairs, then add another key value pairs into this braces list. So it's very clear to understand. And just make sure you understand that for the key value pairs, use the braces, never use the brackets. So for brackets is used for the list of values. So values is quite different from the key value pairs. You should know key value pairs has a key, that's a pairs. But for values, just a value. So what is value? Value could be anything. Could be a project, could be a string, could be an int, could be anything. So that's the value. Same thing. So for the key value pairs, value could be anything. So we will discuss it later. What is the clear? The more details about the key value pairs. But for value, you can see this first line is a very simple example for the list of values, like lists. So if for this sample, we can ignore this list comma here, column here, because it's not part of the list. It's a part of key value pairs. So if we ignore this one, we can see the list of values. This is our list of values here. So the list of values, value is a string boolean. So here the list of values should be the object of key value pairs. Like there are 2 key value pairs here. So But we cannot ignore this part. We cannot ignore this key and this column because this key value pairs is saved in a MongoDB document. So like you should follow anyway, you should follow the key value pairs in the document. So here, so if we go back to this part, so here this is you can see this is the list of values. So the value should be an object. So if we don't have this key here, so it means there are only one array there. How can you figure out what is this array? So if there are thousands of arrays here, you can confuse what is that. What is you want to discuss with us, show us, so we're confused. So that's why we should follow the key value pairs to make sure array has a key. So like you can use that key to find the array. It's very clear for you to find the information. So now let's if we go deeper, you can find that object and array should be very important. So object, what is object? Object is ordered collection of key value pairs. Collection of key value pairs. That's what we want to say, the key value pairs. So syntax should be, that's object. You should never forget that. If we want to create an object, please keep these braces at the end, at the beginning and end of the document. So that's why that's a document, not several information. So if you just keep this stuff there are only key value pairs, just some information. If you put the braces there, that's a document, that's an object. So never miss these two symbols. If you miss these two symbols, you cannot, understand how can we manage the array. So also in the MongoDB, in real MongoDB, the document, if we want to insert document, it's not look like this schema. Same schema, but it's quite different. If we get this from the MongoDB, you can see this schema. So insert method is quite different, but you should have this image on your mind because you have to get key value pairs to want to get a value by applying the key. So just have this image in your brain so you can think deeper about what you can use the MongoDB. So here, so let's go back to key value pairs. The most important rule in the MongoDB, key value pairs. So we have the key, ID is the key, the value should be the one. The number is the key and one is the value. Object, object is the key. Just a name, that's a naming, okay? So, but for that, we can use object as our value. Very good, good development for that. And array, that's still a naming, but we can put array as our value. So means value could be anything, could be a number, could be a string, could be an array, could be an object. It could be anything, could be an object ID still. So in the high level, just make sure object is a document. So it seems like if you make a object as your value, still that's an inside document. It's kind of inside document. But for the array, so that's a sequence of values. So you should know what is values. So values could be anything. Could be a object, could be a value, could be an array, another array. So when you try to use array, make sure you just insert a value, not insert a key value pairs. Still, when here, it's an object of key value pairs, but when you check it, it's still a value, it's still an array. So make sure you don't ignore this braces there and ignore this comma, because it's going to split different values here. So make sure you know that. And never miss any symbols. If you miss any symbols, so you cannot insert the document into the MongoDB, into the database. So here, we don't have enough time, so we just to show you the solution. So now we have this example. Professor wants you to insert this, data set into the document, into MongoDB. So right now you have a course. management, access, and use of big and complex data. That's our course name. And right now you have 3 unit list, 3 units, the unit 0, unit 1, unit 2. Also, you have 2 AIs name here, you and Dimitar. So how can you manage it? Before you think how to build a schema, you should think about how to build that schema. How to build the basic symbols on that schema. Like you don't miss any like braces here. So because it's already a document, it's already a project, never miss it. So here, let's go to the solution, right? See, never miss these braces here because that's an object. Anything saved in collection, saved in MongoDB is worked as a collection. Is a document, is an object. So never miss this part. Here, someone will miss that one. It's okay. You won't miss it because the machine can automatically generate an ID for yourself. Also, you can define a value for that ID. So don't worry about the IDs. It's always exists there. Now let's go back to the other information. Course name should be the course. Anyway, should be the course name. Course is up to you define. So it follows the key value pairs rule. Like if we have this key course name, we have the value management, access, and use of big and complex data. So like easy for you to find the value here. So also for the unit list, we know we have 3 units information here. So we just apply an array for the values for the collection for an object of key value pairs. So like we use comma to split the different object. But in the object, we still use key value pairs. For the object, we still use the key value pairs. We cannot use array. Array is used for array. So that's quite different. And for the people, we just use array to save these 2 different objects or 2 different information. So when you design your schema or read your schema, just follow that. First, follow the key value pairs. Make sure there are key value pairs in your document. And make sure there are comma to split different key value pairs or to split different values. Because if you don't use the split symbol, you will mix the different information on one thing. And also, you cannot load this information into your MongoDB. And then you should follow this array and object. So make sure you follow this syntax. Array object is a collection of key value pairs, and array is a sequence of values. Remember it. That's quite different. You never make some error syntax there. So for the project, for project. So for the document structure, so MongoDB is very. It's good that the developer define 2 structures: the references document and embedded document. So before we let me talk about the reference document. So the reference stores the relationship between data by including links or reference from one document to another. So when you go back to the MySQL table, you will find the primary key and the foreign key has the same performance, like just to build the relationship, build the network in the database. So reference has same performance and same functionality to do that. So for the relationship for the reference document, we have the one-to-one, one-to-n, n-to-n, and n-to-one. So for the one-to-one and one-to-n, we can use the sample like, so the primary key in MySQL has the same thing, like the primary key can lead to one-to-one or one-to-n. And for the n-to-n relationship, n-to-one relationship, so the foreign key has this same kind of function performance. So when you use preference document, so you cannot find any difference between MySQL and MongoDB. Reference document should be a kind of copy of MySQL structure. And here's the document. So this is sample. So first of all, we have so that's this. We should see that there should be a braces there. That's a object. That's a document. Then here we use an array to save the several objects, and the object ID. Object ID will help you to jump to any other document or any other, object in different collection or in same collection. So here, this is a sample. So now we have three kind of documents. So the user document, network document, and tweet document. So they both of them have the same user ID. So when we working on this user document, we have this ID, and then we want to know how many friends does this user have. So we use this user ID to find his network in another document. Excuse me. So you can find this network information in this network document. Also, this network should be another ID. So you can follow this ID to find another user in the user document. So that's the relationship between the user and the network. Also, when you go to the tweet, you can still find another user ID, like same user ID. So if you want to find the user's tweets there, so you just follow this ID and query another ID in the tweet document. So you can find any tweets that user published online. So let's build a relationship or build a network between several different documents or in different collections. That's what we want a reference document do or reference structure do. Just to build a relationship in the data set. So most students will ask why we have to use a reference document, reference structure. So this sample is very easy, right? You just put all this information there, and you can find well, that's good because it's very clear for us. But if the address is very simple, address information is very simple, so we don't need to use the object ID or don't need you to use the reference structure. But if you think about it, we have thousands of information there. It's not thousands of key value pairs there. It will take you a long time to read it. So that's why we use reference in the MongoDB document. So go back to our class sample. So we can see. So this is just the key value pairs. Key is the course, value is the management something. But here we should pay attention to this part. So the reference, what is reference? We have a link from one document to another document. So just means that we have include the information as saved in other document. So when you think about the unit list, we can use the reference document. So here, this is one sample. So in MongoDB, there is no exact correct answer. So just based on your design, you can develop thousands of schema, thousands of document for that. So here, for this solution, I have a unit list, and it's an array of object ID. So this reference structure here, there's a reference structure here, so like just follow the object ID. Then you can jump to this object in other collection. So here, when you query the unit list, you get a list. Then you can get the exact content from different document. Just jump from this document to another document, or just use this link to get the information. So that's what we want in reference structure. That's why we use reference structure, how this reference structure work. So there's another solution. So that we still keep the unit list as an array of clear information, not the object ID. But for AI, so we just save an array of information, array of object ID. So we can still use this ID to find the AI's information or find the people's information, just to follow this ID. So this kind of work build this reference, it means build this network on the on the database. So if you want to save a very complicated or save very big data, so you should try to use the reference ID, because embedded document is another way to solve the question, but it's not a good way to solve the complex data. So about the embedded document, so for the relationship, it's quite simple. Like one document contains all information on other documents. So if you have a very simple simple document and simple record, a simple data set, just put them into the one document and make sure you make a clear key value pairs there, so you can find it, you can query it very quickly or very easily, and you can read it very fast. But the embedded document has this disadvantage and advantage. Like advantage is simple, easy to put all information in one document, but it's heavy. What is heavy? It's hard to read the document. It seems like you have thousands of key value pairs in your your document. It's just so when you try to print it on your screen, you can see thousands of lines there, and it's hard for you to view the thousands of lines there. Even though you can get this key there, get the key list from this data set, from this document, but you still have to review these thousands of keys. Sometimes you will forget why I have to name this key by this name, or why I have to give that name on the list. So you sometimes you will forget something. So just to make sure, if you have a very simple data set, just use the embedded document. If you cannot remember the content or cannot remember the structure of the document, just use the reference. So because the reference can help you jump from one field to another field, can save you time, can give you some hint about the structure of the document. So here, that's just one simple sample of the embedded document. We just store all information there. For the simple data, it's very clear to read, but it's not a good idea to put a very complicated data into this document, because you have to spend a lot of time to read it, not to figure out the key value, just to spend a lot of time to read the content. So this is what I'm going to talk about in this discussion. So next class, we are going to learn how to install and use MongoDB, like how to create database, how to create collections, how to drop data collections and data set, or how to insert data or update data. So before we start our next discussion in next Monday, I encourage you to read the tutorial, what I post on the Piazza. It has a lot of, MongoDB share to help you learn how to use that MongoDB, or can help you learn why we should use that command line there, and it can give you some helps that when you do the project. So it seems like we have done our discussion. If you have any questions, just post on the chat. So I think I can answer some questions. Okay. So for the here, so someone asked the account username. So maybe the unit 5 at the beginning of the unit 5 week of unit 5, we are going to post the Google documents, then you can fill in your username. Okay, so yeah, that's a question. So I'm not sure about the Windows, so I will check it. But for your project, you won't use Windows. You just use Ubuntu. So don't worry about project. So I hope you can just use VMBox. So because VM, if you use VMBox, you can just insert some system, and you can just make some stable system for the MongoDB. So if most students have the problem about the Windows, so I will check it and post another tutorial or some links for you guys to learn how to use MongoDB on Windows. So do we have any questions? So for the XSED, so right now you can start to create it, but yeah, and don't need to do anything if you create that account. Just keep it. Get the access to view. You mean the jet stream? Okay. So the week of Unit 5. Because we don't want the student to waste our resources. There are limited resources on the allocation. So please just, so we just want you to access the JetStream on week of Unit 5, so that you can start your project, you can start to learn something, and you don't waste any resources. Did anyone have any? Oh, tutorial about use VMBox. Okay, so tutorial use VM. Okay, I will give some. Oh, maybe at least week, at this end of week, I will give you some tutorial about how to use VMBox. Yeah, that's fine. So do we have any? Okay, got that. So let me make it to the. Let me stop sharing the